call the regular meeting of the Crew Town Council, October 13, 2015, to order. We welcome those that are in our audience, and I believe our one council person will be coming a little late. He had a previous engagement. I thank you all for coming. Welcome to come back anytime, and it gives me great pleasure that for invocation tonight that the Reverend Ron Spencer, pastor of the Prior Memorial Presbyterian Church, has come to give us the invocation, and we will then be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by E.B. Fisher. So if you all would rise.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to come safely together this evening. We thank you for joys and blessings that we have each already seen during this day. Maybe joys and blessings that were great and stunning, and maybe little ones, enjoying the creation and the beautiful fall weather and the trees and the creation shining, almost dancing in front of us. Lord, we thank you for our opportunity to be here tonight. We thank you for the brothers and sisters who serve our town in these leadership roles, and we lift them up to you tonight. Lord, we thank you for the brothers and sisters who were here in a past time, serving in other times, maybe going back decades and decades and decades. We thank you for the people who supported them and encouraged them, even as we thank you for the people who are encouraging and supporting the leaders here tonight. And Lord, we thank you for brothers and sisters who will gather here in a coming day, perhaps decades and decades in the future, and try to build on who we are and what we have done today. We thank you for the folks who labor on behalf of the town and people who help and serve in informal ways in our town and support us. Gracious God, we thank you for blessings and joys we have seen, and we thank you for your patience with us as we try to live into who we all can be. Gracious God, we thank you for this all and give you thanks and praise. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Come in and have a seat. You're welcome. Okay, we will start this evening off with delegation from the public and citizen comments. Do we have any? I'm being presumptuous with this.
I would just like to remind everybody that we do have a different theme this year. And I think some of our town employees were the ones that came up with it. So it's going to be Festival of Lights. And we want to mean a festival. We want the town of Crew decorated from one end to the other. Our light bills might be a little bit higher, but we still like to do it. And I'd like to invite all of the businesses, the people around Crew, to decorate their homes, their yards, and really put Crew on the map. I have already sent out all of the entries for the Christmas parade. However, I will be getting some more because they are just hidden. So I would like to invite the council and Ms. Sally to have the float and light it up.
Okay, and I would like to thank you and Jimmy for all the countless hours you have given this town and the parade, and how special it is and how we look forward to it. And all of you. It is a job well done, and we're lucky that, again this year you all are able to participate and all. So I challenge my fellow elected officials here, for us to do something, unique for our participation in the parade and all. But it's sort of a fun time for us because it's one of the few casual times we are able to get in and put something together and work on something that is a creation, and then take it apart within a couple minutes so we can go watch the rest of the parade.
Fast we can take it apart.
Yes, but it is a fun time.
Well, Tammy and I have gotten together, and we are getting some of the youth in our churches to come and help us decorate the park and the museum both.
Very nice.
And we have already purchased a few of the new decorations, but we want to get the youth involved in it. And I've got Ward's Chapel so far and have talked to the minister at Crew United Methodist Church. So I hope she brought it up Sunday. And any of the others we would welcome.
Very good, very good. Any questions about it? I'll just do a list, since Phil usually chimes in here. Did you have a
Yeah,
question?
how much is it to get in?
Nothing,
Nothing?
free.
The,
I'm talking float wise. Oh,
You don't have to pay to enter.
the grand illumination, the Christmas parade is first Thursday.
The 3rd of
December.
Mhm.
And so the Saturday evening before will be the grand illumination over and the park. And I am correct?
Yes.
Yes, so, I know last year it was a wonderful event, well, it has been a delightful event, and our police have done a marvelous job of making it family friendly and all. I'm real proud of that, and I know it's always a challenge and all, but I know they will rise to the occasion for that, just as they've done in the past, you know. And one of the business ladies, several of the council were there at the chamber meeting, but Ms. Slaughter has made arrangements from Puritan Cleaners for children's coats and all. Last year, she was able to give out scarves and hats and gloves, and this year she's added coats to her list, and I think she's gonna have
200. 200 coats.
And I just think that's a marvelous, you know, contribution to the lighting of the park for those that, you know, need and all. And I believe there, you know, there were young groups from the school last year at the Illumination that sang and all. It was just the whole event for the whole week was just quite lovely. Thank you. Do y'all have any other questions for us? No, well, we will try to do our best part. And lots of lights, huh?
Yes. And I gotta talk to Wade about that.
Any other participation, any comments that the council needs to hear at this time? And all that have come, okay. Moving on to the consent calendar. On the consent calendar, the items are considered routine and will be approved by one motion. Any item can be removed from the calendar at the request of a member of council and may be voted on separately. In your packet, you have the minutes of the regular town council meeting held Monday, September 14, 2015. And you have the bill sheet, and we have additions to the bill sheet that have been handed to you prior to our opening. The original total for our bill sheet for the month was $135,144.23. We are adding additional bills of $8,967.36. So what we need to vote on is $143,111.59. So, are there any questions, comments?
And I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar with the additions to the financial report.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the consent calendar with the additions to the bill sheet. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll let Al have it.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Okay, it is carried. All right, moving right along, town manager's report.
I'd like to start out tonight, we need to update two of our standing committees. Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals is required. And I've been a little bit slack in getting this done with Pat Sally's help. And of course, people out in the community step forward and offer to serve on these two different committees. I'd like to present their names to you tonight for approval. I'll start with the Planning Commission, which must consist of one member of council. I've asked Al Simpson to serve as a member of council. One administrator, which will be me. 3 citizens have agreed to serve: Whip Wilson, Mag Dews, and Arts, Art Booth Senior, I guess, right? Mr. Booth to me. So, and on the Board of Zoning Appeals, those that have agreed, 1 member from Planning Commission has to be on Board of Zoning, which is Whip Wilson. The other 4 members are John Spencer, Jim Stinson, Lee Simmons, and Harrison Skipwith. They've all agreed to serve. Their terms will stagger and vary. We don't use them very often, but they are necessary in certain situations. And upon approval, I'm going to send out an introduction letter to everyone and outline what the responsibilities are in case they come up. As most of you know, also tonight I wanted to discuss a little bit about the zoning situation that we're looking at right now with the R1. So this would be a situation where the Planning Commission, it would be referred to them, and then they would come back with a recommendation to council. And it's up to council to decide what to do. So at some point tonight, I would like to give council's approval on these appointees, whether it be now or we could do it later on in new business.
Okay, could we have a motion for council now?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we accept the 2 standing committees on zoning and planning as the town manager has stated with the membership. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Okay, that's taken care of.
Thank you. And again, we appreciate the citizens serving on these committees. Like I said, it doesn't happen very often, but my experience with these members has been that when it does happen, they take it extremely seriously, and they know that they're in it, why they're in it, and they do a good job with it. I appreciate that. I wanted to update everybody. I probably got ahead of myself a little bit, but I got excited because we finally got around to cleaning one of the lagoons. You'll recall we purchased a tractor and a trailer to start cleaning the lagoons ourselves as opposed to paying an outside source. So we managed to clean one. It took about a week. It was successful. It worked just like we hoped it would. I know we paid $56,800 for the tractor and $3,000 for the tank, but we paid Bionomics $21,000 for that lagoon. So we were 1/3 way there. Paying for it, so that worked very well.
And our men still had to participate when the other company came in too, so.
So that, I think that's gonna work out to be a good, not only that, it helps our water quality and gives them a whole lot more room down there to do what they need to do, so it's been real good. We're talking about the vehicle registration withholding from DMV. I got a packet. I probably got it last week, but I hadn't had a chance to go through it yet. This is the contract and the instructions, and I glanced through it today. I think I'm gonna have to do a little more than glance at it. There's a whole lot involved in it, and we've all got to sit down in the office and figure out how we're gonna do this thing. But we've at least been approved, and it's just a matter of signing the contract and setting up how it's gonna work. So that'll happen. We met and came up with a final, I'll call it a draft, on the changes to the R1 zoning, which was to allow basically internet-based businesses in an R1 section, is what it was designed for. Of course, it got a little bit, there was a little bit more to it than that, and I'll hand out tonight what we came up with. There were a couple of items in there I think Tessie had some comments on, and I know nobody's had a chance to review this yet, so I guess once you have, we'll have to get back together at some point and have a public hearing if we agree to do this. But this pretty much covers, and I know, like I said, you haven't had a chance to see it, but Patsy, did you want to mention
You'll keep that,
Okay.
I'll get one for you tomorrow.
your questions?
Well, there weren't, I didn't have any questions about this part of it. It was more about, we still need to, when we advertise this, we need to also include the original proposed changes with, just amending the existing zoning ordinances so that it, includes instead of excludes the home occupations. And then I think there were two different places that we needed to amend it. Number one, in the permitted uses in R1 district, and then also we needed to add in the definition of home occupation in 2. So just, when we look at this, I'll also print out the, original, just basically routine changes that we need to make to the actual ordinance as well. But I have, reviewed this, everything looks fine with me. We had the issue at one time about addressing, family, and what is a family. That was in the original version of the regulations, and that seems to be taken care of. And by the way, if I'm talking funny, I got a filling today, so that's why the side of my mouth is a little bit off.
I had one question that you said that when we advertised, we needed to add the definition of home occupancy. Did you mean also, or did you mean number 2?
Well, there was an original change, just adding home occupancy as a permitted use in R1, and then also, in addition to this list, where this kind of defines home occupancy, but we just need to make sure that it's added, this whole thing is added to, the definitions section.
The definition, I got you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, so what it will say is, home occupancy uses will be permitted, and then also,
Under these conditions?
under these
Or
conditions.
what was already in there?
Correct, and so, and I guess my one question I did have for you all was, did you wanna make it still under a conditional use permit? I would say yes, since it has these uses, that way it'll give it some teeth and you can
Well-
pull it if they aren't following
I
this.
guess my question there is exactly what does that mean, and why is that necessary if you've got this and
Well, the reason it would be necessary is that at any time, if they were not following this, you could just pull the conditional use permit. But if they weren't following this, then you'd have to do a violation of zoning ordinance. So, I don't know necessarily, we can hammer it out.
See, I thought 13 covered that, that's the reason I wondered about
Yeah, so if that's the case, we should be good without a conditional use permit. So we could just say, home occupations, in the allowed uses section, home occupations, comma, subject to the provisions as set forth in the definition.
that. Right.
And then in the definition, it can say, home occupation as defined by the, uses set forth below. So I'll just make sure before it's advertised that we have the whole text together on it. And then, the other thing is, it needs to go to a public hearing first with the planning commission, and then the planning commission makes a recommendation, and then it goes to you all for the final approval.
So the public hearing is actually part of the planning commission?
There's 2 separate public
Oh, you have
hearings.
2 separate?
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
yep, one with the planning commission, and then if they, well, regardless of what their recommendation would be, then it would be advertised for another public hearing with no vote.
We tried to cover everything, tried to think, you try to think of everything that could go wrong, or how somebody could stretch or bend the rules, so we felt like we pretty much had everything covered here. We're probably gonna miss something that we didn't think of, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And the public, I could read through this, but as she said, it will be part of the public notice twice, so it's basically allowing, the internet, everything there is internet-based, it seems. And there are a lot of businesses that are being run from home over the internet, so this allows R1 section to have that type of business. And allowing that, it also keeps them from having an office or visitors or cars that are parked out front of a residential neighborhood, that type of thing. So that's basically what it was all about. Just to touch on, so y'all know we haven't forgotten, we're still working on these derelict buildings and how we're gonna figure out how we can take these down. I think you remember last time I talked about, we didn't get any bids on it before, and a couple of times the question came up if we had an asbestos report, which we did not. I think my intention there was to make that part of the bid process. My question tonight would be, do we possibly want to go ahead and have one done on the Carolina Avenue crop? I've been given a resource for that. The Lipscomb Stratton project uses an asbestos analysis, if you will. Contacted them today just basically to find out what they charge. $10 per analysis, which I'm not sure exactly what that means. I guess that's the base charge.
So sample, each sample they
That's
take.
kind of what I'm afraid of, but that's just $10, but it's $65 per hour to have that done.
What did you say?
I said that maybe that it meant $10 per sample, like, you know, if you look at the outside of the house and you would test, say, the shingles, then you would walk in the front door, and if it's some kind of laminated material on the floor, you would test that. Then as you would go through things that tend to contain asbestos that were questionable, they would probably, you know, test those. It would be what my guess was.
And having an analysis and then maybe rebidding it and including it in the bid process may help, I don't know. Our other option, of course, is to contact someone directly, which the only one I know of right offhand would be WEL, to come in and give us an estimate on just take the building down, and they do all of their own asbestos work. I could do either one. We're going to run it by y'all and see what you think.
Cost of it, which one? I mean, if it would open up bidders to have that.
I had two people question it, out of maybe, well, I didn't get the 2 phone calls. And both of them asked if we had that report. I said, no, we don't.
If it helps us get more bids, then the odds are we'll get that price, so.
But almost the
That's what
point
we
of
need.
advertising would almost include the cost of what maybe it would be to have the building tested, correct? At
Well,
$200 and some an ad.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought we were doing when we first did, because the ones that called, I said, well, put that in your bid, you know, you've got to have that. But I don't know, I'm just guessing, apparently that turns them off because they didn't know what they were getting into, so they didn't know how to bid. I don't know. But the bottom line is, it's still sitting there. So we're gonna move on. I think right now, maybe the thing to do, depending, I don't think it will cost us anything, is go ahead and get WEL to give us an estimate, and let's just see what it is and go from there. They came in, you'll recall, and did the railroad office over there for us, he did that report. They charged about $500 to do that, but that was an actual report. So, I just wanted y'all to know that we hadn't forgotten it. We're still working on it. I'm still not, haven't been able to get in touch with anybody in the old theater building. Tessie and I were discussing maybe going through a notification process through the newspaper, a series of notices and letters to let anybody that has any interest in it, let them know what's going on. And we'd like to take that down too. by somebody with that load bearing wall, or the wall that's on the building next to it, so. We're gonna keep working on that.
Does council have any thought going back to the East Carolina about the asbestos, how they would like the town manager to proceed?
I think we should get WL to give us an estimate the town manager requested.
Okay, could we have that in the form of a motion, please?
I make an informed motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the town manager getting WEL to give us an estimate on the asbestos, signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The, following him up on the old theater, I know that one of the landowners, I believe, Steve, you were in that meeting, and I believe that the chamber president was in that meeting, that one of the landowners who has an adjacent building to that wall is really concerned about that tree, to the point that they got very, very boisterous, let's just say, you know, when we brought that up. I'm not rude, I just meant, you know, that, you know how I get excited, this person got excited too. So, it's something that we really need to think about, because that tree,
He's afraid about
that the tree there will,
Fall down.
right,
Is
will
that
knock it
word?
down.
I didn't let him go take it down.
And,
I second that.
but I didn't, you know, want to let you know that one of the adjoining landowners, right, is concerned about the stability of that tree and the wall, you know, being compromised, say, in a storm or something. So.
That's all I have.
Okay, any questions for the town manager? Okay, moving on, town attorney.
Yes, thank you. Most of what I was gonna talk about, we've already discussed, which is the home occupation zoning ordinance, and so we'll be working on that. I would like council's approval for us to go ahead and advertise for the public hearing for the Christmas bonuses, because that is coming up soon, and so you all would either need to pass the ordinance for the bonuses in November or December. So if it's going to be November, we need to go ahead and advertise, whatever council desires. We have been working on Municode. They have sent the proofs, and I talked to Tiffany about that today. They've sent the proofs out and just working on getting that wrapped up. And Lipscomb Stratton, still working on that. There are additional title searches that need to be done. I hope it's okay. I went ahead and contacted Village Title since we determined that the grant is gonna pay for it. It's no extra cost to the town, so I'll make sure that that happens. And if that's all, thank you all.
Any questions of our town attorney at this point? Okay, so you, when we go into new business, you may want to keep in mind about the employee bonuses. Thank you. Okay, committee reports. I will start with finance.
Finance is okay, all the bills are being paid, but we still need more money coming in. Try to find it somewhere.
Okay, thank you. Public Works, infrastructure.
We don't have any report.
Okay,
Everything's going wrong.
all right. Personnel.
Once again, thank you to our dedicated employees. A lot of them are working real hard when we had the rain. It's not easy. They do a great job.
Public safety.
No report.
Okay. Facilities and Park and Recreation.
I speak on behalf of the Economic Development Committee too. The COC, which is the Chamber of Commerce, will be having their annual dinner next month, right? And that's their biggest dinner for the year. That's their fundraising dinner with silent auctions and stuff like that. So please make sure y'all can go to that. That's it for my report for the Economic Development Committee. For the Parks and Rec, of course, we're gonna be lighting up the park and everything. We're gonna start working construction on the bridge. It was supposed to be Saturday, but I guess the rain held that back. So it's gonna be maybe this Saturday. I gotta talk to Todd about that. That's about it. That's all I got.
Okay, any questions for Park and Recreation or the facilities? Thank you. Okay, community development.
I was able to go and visit the Stratton. You know, I Shakespeare, Stratford and Avon, that's what I try to say. Big difference, huh? Area, and it's good news and it's bad news. It is so exciting, and you had all the pictures, and we had looked at them. But to see the construction going on, and it is progressing, and like she said, as soon as we get the titles in, we'll get on to that. But there's a lot to be done. And the trash, the limbs and all that you mentioned, those are all there too. So you'll get both sensations when you ride through. You'll see the house, the new house that was completely torn down and is coming back up, looking good. And so we're just hopeful that this is going to be a start.
Let me add a little something too, that we took some notes at the end, and let me tell you, and I'll tell you the numbers, not the people thing, but to give you an idea of what has been completed. At 300 Lipscomb, 75% of the rehab in construction has been completed. And this was as of last month, so starting when we have our meeting Thursday, I'm sure that some of these probably will have finished the project. Okay, 501 Lipscomb was, as of last month, 100% completed with what they did there. 209 Stratton was at that point 40% done, and that was with taking down and building up a brand new house. And that's the one where you see most visible with all the activity going on. 302 Lipscomb was at this point 80% done. They had to, the other 20%, they had to order some special windows and all, and the back porch and roof had more work to be on. So hopefully by this week that will be done. 304 Stratton was 100% done with final inspection to be done. 208 had been 100% completely demoed, and they were able, because of the monies, for those of you that are in the audience, it is a 2-year project, so they received half the monies this year and half the monies for next year. So they had just partial houses that they were partial part of the grant was going to be done this year, hoping to get it wrapped up before the bad weather sets in. Then once the weather breaks and the money is released from Richmond, the second half would be, they had been lucrative enough that on this section of the project, that 308 Lipscomb had been voted on to be included this year, and as of last month, it was being put out to bid. And also there, not everybody, it's not all complete new homes. There are decks, windows, porches, things, a variety of things that have been done. And I have to say, like Councilman Dalton said, that when you see there's still a lot of cleanup that needs to be done, and the town will try to help address this on Thursday by the end of the month. And some people are having trouble letting go of things. They have accumulated over the years, and they're having a situation of letting go. And I can identify with that. So, it's not always easy to part with things that you've gathered up and all. But thank you. It is exciting to go over and take pictures and then look back at what happened. Any other questions for the community development? Okay, police chief.
It's been a pretty quiet month, as you can see in the police report. Officer Ragland resigned his position with us on September 29th. He took another part-time position with social services, so it allowed him to spend more time at home with his family. hated to see him go, but he gave me, a month's notice, so he left on very good terms.
They did a good job.
He did. It's definitely a loss. We're currently in the process of looking to find a replacement for his part-time position. I don't know if everybody knows or not, but Officer Kinchlow had his baby boy. Don't ask me the exact date, I believe it was about 4 weeks ago.
You're gonna do better than that.
I don't remember.
How long was it?
Don't ask me.
Got a name?
William Kinchlow.
Oh, okay.
He named him after his father. But everybody's doing fine, everybody's doing well. In the packet, I included a proposal from 3 North, it's looking into a new police department. I think since there's money involved to get this thing going, that is definitely not in the police department budget, then maybe the best way to go to do this would be to form some type of committee that could be objective, look at everything, the whole picture, and then maybe come to a conclusion if this is something that we really need to move forward on before we spend any money. So I spoke with the mayor about it, so she knows my feelings on it.
And we talked about this, because the first thing that I said to Art, when I saw it in my packet is, okay, where is, we've got to have the answer of where the money's going to come from. And he said, well, let me look at my budget, and after lunch he came back and he said that he just did not think that amount he could get from his budget this year. And I had talked to him about the possibility of me appointing a committee, and I'm going to do that tonight. I believe this committee will take this and look at it and consider things that maybe from a biased point that some of us are looking at would not be fair to the citizens or to all the council because of the things. But I believe that it is our job to keep this town moving forward. And I think all of you, have had your opportunities over the years to, see what conditions that the police department operates under. So having said that, I have asked 2 council people, and they have accepted on this committee. The 2 council people will be Al and will be Ann. They will be the 2 council persons. And I would like 2 citizenry from the town to look at this. 2 citizens who, have had an active part in the town, are aware of what's happening today, what has happened to the past, and have a few of the eyes of the future. And talking with Art, he asked could he, come up with one of the citizens, and I felt like that would be, to ask an individual, I thought that would be fair for the committee. And then the 4th person would be up to the 2 council people to choose 1 citizen from our community. So this would be sort of an unbiased group of 4 that wasn't putting in information, in that, have already determined what, how they would vote. And I just feel like that this way it gives us a fresh start, and they may come out with some of the most wonderful, progressive ideas that, we maybe have not stumbled upon and all. And so this is what I have done.
And if they could have access to the past, when I was reading it, I was telling Arlen earlier, I thought, wait a minute, I've heard this song. And because when Pat Rose, way back, when she was here with us and talked about the old, what do we all call it, the office, the railroad office up there. And I thought there were reports out here that stated that. And so I do believe that this group that's going to be working on it, if they have access to as much as we have filed at Town Hall regarding these things.
And I want council to realize, they in no way can spend any money. I mean, this isn't a thing to come up with a budget or anything. It's just to gather the facts and bring it back. When it comes to actually spending the money, the council will vote on that. And that was why, you know, instead of just putting $8,000 in something out there, and we say, well, you know, part of us say, well, we don't have that, and other parts say, well, maybe, you know, if we have it, but it should be used here, there, and all. Is this the best? I think an impartial group that can sit down and look at it and, you know, have, 8 sets of eyes, that would be different than, say, Art looking at it, I looking at it, or, you know, Phil looking at it. I just think, you know, like the safety committee, because I know we have a safety committee, but I feel like that's sort of partial to it, to include it. So I was trying to get, you know, two that would not have that. So I hope you all like this. It's not that I've excluded anybody, I just felt like that this might be a very fair and partial way, and Art really suggested that to me. I had suggested, I don't know, a couple months ago, we talked about it too. So we're trying to move ahead, but we want to make sure whatever we present is really what our town needs and can afford, and also.
It's gonna be a big project, and of course, I'm gonna be biased, you know, I want the best of the best for my guys, but that may not be completely feasible for the town, and I feel like with the committee, everybody can come in with open mind, and, you know, maybe we can come up with a solution that is feasible. That'll make everybody happy.
What we need now and what we will need in the future, and what to do now and what to, but if it's progressive, you're not doing something now that's not going to be able to flow into that. So I think it's an excellent idea. I'm glad you did that.
And with that said, we still need to address the police station we got in there, as far as in there where Beverly is, as far as heating and cooling. And I was talking to Wade about that, maybe putting a mini split in it. They're not that expensive, but will control the climate.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Well, seriously, that's what, we need to go, we need to act on that now, because, you know, winter is coming, and the way they can set that in there, they can probably run the line through where the TV is and shoot it this way, which all the air will, you know, instead of coming out the door. And you can't get sand, sun does make one. And I think I'll put that in as a motion if you don't mind.
Okay.
Get 3 bids.
A motion is on the table to provide new heating and cooling
Well,
in
please split.
the police, right in the police department, on a 3 bid.
3 bids.
Is there a second? Okay. It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? And here again, in the future, those rooms
Might be used
are
by
always going to have an opportunity for usage.
Yeah,
So.
well, you know, you never know, you might want to add on to the
Correct.
portable part, you know, and it'll still be used.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for the chief of police?
I got one more thing.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
We've tried to have an outdoor movie night twice. Every time we seem to plan one, we have a monsoon that comes in. That's what it causes it, so.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, we're gonna attempt to have another one on Halloween night. We're gonna try to show 2 movies, the first one being a kid-friendly movie, and we don't know which one that's gonna be yet. But the second movie will be the new Jurassic Park movie that's come out. Weather permitting.
I'm sorry, Chief, was that Halloween night or the night before Halloween?
Halloween night, it's the wrong date, I think, was put out.
Okay.
We got
Let me
it.
revise that.
31st.
I was just going based off of what I received, but I'll revise that and let everyone know it's on Halloween night.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Don't y'all have a lot of problems on Halloween night with people, vandalism and stuff like that?
No, sir. We have a few eggs here and there, but nothing major.
Well, they used to, you know, several years ago, they used to have.
I think the biggest one we had last year is they got our police cars sitting in the parking lot up there, a couple of eggs. Silly string, but nothing major. I think that's it, Mayor. I'm done.
Any questions? Okay, before I move on, since our councilman has arrived, would you like to say anything on economic
Oh,
development?
sure, thank you, and I'm sorry I'm late, I was at another thing, it's a busy time of year.
Went to the VML conference, which was another great conference. I encourage everyone to go to the VML conference in the future. You meet a lot of great people, do a lot of networking, get a lot of great ideas, and you come back really refreshed and energized with great ideas. I'll be talking to Wade and the mayor about some of those coming up in the future. I went to one session on sign ordinances, which is very topical for what Wade and I were talking about just the other day, which was sign ordinances. So no, it was a great event, and at the event, the town of Crewe was one of 2 towns to win a gold level HEAL award. The other community was the city of Charlottesville. Out of 324 towns and cities in Virginia, the town of Crewe was one of only 2 to win that award. And I think I have it in my car. I'll bring it over to the town office. They actually printed off the wrong certificate, so I sent me a new one, but we'll display that proudly in the town office. Chamber of Commerce, did Bill mention anything? Okay, perfect. The Chamber banquet is on the 6th of November, so mark your calendars. I'm sure everyone's going to be getting an invite to that. And I believe we'll be beginning to decorate for Christmas in the near future. If you haven't been there yet, I encourage everyone to go to the Boxcar. It's a new business that we need to support.
Not with us, Steve.
Right.
What are you gonna do for your next trip?
Steve and I from Colorado before we can go.
You forgot I was there, didn't you?
Right.
But I wasn't at the ball.
But it really is a really nice establishment, and I encourage everyone to go there and have a meal, have a drink, have a meal and a drink. Spend money, support local businesses, not only the Boxcar, but all the other facilities we have. Bravo, Luigi's, right, exactly. So let's support local business and eat locally. The Virginia Growth Alliance, were you going to mention that?
You go right ahead.
Okay, they had a very interesting presentation for the Chambers of Commerce and different businesses a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, yesterday, and just went over some of the things that businesses that we can be doing as a community and what businesses can do for themselves to further their own business. One small thing, I think the Chamber's planning on putting together a joint chamber meeting sometime in the future with the Blacksburg Chamber to go over this in more detail. But one thing that really stuck out, it's really low-hanging fruit, is for all businesses to go onto Google their business and claim their business. Because some incredibly high percentage of businesses are in claims, and essentially 80%. And essentially what it means is you go on, you claim your business, you put in your correct hours of operation, your phone number, your address. If you're a restaurant, I guess they have an option for menus and such. But whatever it is, you put it in there, and that way when people are Google searching, they can pull you up and know what you're doing. 80% of businesses in this area haven't done that yet. So if I'm someone from Roanoke traveling to Norfolk, and I want to stop for lunch somewhere, and I'm Colorado, exactly. And I want to stop for lunch somewhere, and I Google search it in Crewe, and I'm like, oh, well, this place is here, but it doesn't have the hours of operation. I don't know if it's going to be open. I'm just going to pass right by and wait until I get to, the diner out in Wakefield or something. So businesses, thank you. Businesses should go on and claim their business, and we'll be advertising that more in the coming future. The Nottaway Historical Association is having a music festival on December the 12th from 10 to 3 at the Old Brick Church next to Nottaway Courthouse. If anyone went last year, it was a great event. It's going to be even better this year. So I encourage everyone to come out December 12th from 10 to 3. And if anyone wants to order pork loins, let me know. The Lions Club is selling them. That's it. Any questions?
Yeah, in reference to your comments about the Boxcar Bistro,
Yes.
has any of you ever opportunity to go up there and see the reconstruction of the inside of that place? Is something that's real nice for this area. I'm talking about the whole county.
Absolutely. They did
I mean, they
amazing.
did an excellent job, and of course, they spent a pile of money, a lot of money on that place, and it looked real nice. It's nice for this area.
Right, and Councilman Sisk and I were talking to the general manager, Nash, up there, and yeah, he's very energetic about the project and about doing things for the town in the future.
Definitely helping out the community. That's one of the things he wants to do, so.
The decor is lovely. In the restaurant, I haven't been,
Yes.
but the food is excellent too. I went with a group and about 4 different dishes in all here.
So there's never any reason to cook at home. Just go out to Bravo and Boxcar and do seafood. I guess if you want to cook your seafood, you can.
Okay, any questions, Councilman? Okay, next is my report, and I'm going to, because I hadn't put it down here, but I'm just going to say something briefly about the Virginia Alliance. When Phil and I were representing our town at the Nottoway Economic Development Council, there was criticism that we belong, meaning we, Nottoway, Crew, Burkeville, Blackstone, to this alliance. Tim Reed, who is the director, he is the one that goes across the world and looks for business opportunities to come into our county. And the criticism that we heard at the meeting was that, I think between $15,000 and $17,000 based on populace, that our tax monies, the county's tax monies goes to put, to this, to promote Nottoway. What have we gotten back? And that was how this meeting was held, was that they invited the chambers. And I know that our chamber president notified all chamber members, and it ended up that it was the first man, me, Phil, and Mr. Foss were the only ones that came from our area. It was very enlightening to find out. I mean, we all try to do what we can to promote our businesses and make it, so the word gets out. But what they were saying about the internet and all, and what we need individually to do to have out there, people who have businesses that are looking for places to move to, and their staff that will be moving here look at things like what businesses are, X, Y, and Z. They had one company that had Nottoway as a second choice, and the company was all set to move here and all, and they had picked out the staff to move here. And when they went online and they looked at the area, they did not want to come because we're selling ourselves short by not selling ourselves. Having said that, a lot of things like natural gas, the internet, the large shell building, a lot of the things are not just a Crew thing or a Burkeville thing or a Blackstone thing. It is a Nottoway County thing, all of us together, and we all have to get together. Whether it's this year, next year, when new people sit here, we need to promote that it's got to be a county thing, because we don't have the resources just to do it ourselves. We've got to sell the whole county, and the whole county needs to be involved. It's that important. And that's what really was brought out too. Another thing that they have online are all the industrial units that are in this consortium. And they have a drone. Right now, it's just sort of like the Google drawing and all. But one of the things that they are planning to do as the leaves fall off the trees. Now, I don't know where Nottoway County will fall in our industrial park. They're actually planning to bring the drones in, or the drone in, and tape it so a company can actually see the actual site and where things are, as opposed to just drawing. So that sounds like a mighty big task, but that to me would be a nice feature if, they're able to do it. Okay, moving on from that. the ornament for the governor's mansion. We have, memos out. I heard it on the radio today. I want to thank WSVS. I know they're not here, but for promoting it. I want to thank Mr. Gunner because he had put a nice article in the paper, and anybody you see, try to encourage them. Don't know what we're going to end up with October 26th, but she came up with a real neat idea if it gets down to the very bones. So that we want to be able to send something to put on the tree. So hopefully that the citizens will come through with something. And by the end of this month, the committee will get together and we will be promoting something for the children to do to decorate the tree at the community center and all with their ornaments and all. I just think that will be a nice activity, and you said you would come up with surprises, so I want to remind you
Yes.
that you will come up with that. Okay.
Yes, I will.
The Christmas parade, the theme is Festival of Lights. Put on your thinking caps. We don't want to miss a great opportunity here in will we be judged? Because we were so sad last year. Okay. Okay. So we know it's not failure. It's just that we okay. Okay, we'll still do our very, very best. But it helps to know we weren't, out. We weren't just put out it, because we thought we did pretty good. Okay, there we go. The VML regional suppers. I know that a lot of us did not go to the big meeting, but they do have a list, and you probably got one in your mail. I looked at the dates. The closest one ends up being the day before the Christmas parade, so I already talked to Wade. I have, Petersburg is, I'm sorry, I'm going to sort of think that, because that's on December 2nd. That some of you think about it, and I think there was one in Charlottesville. I haven't quite looked at that date, but I'll be getting back with you and all to see, because I know last year when we went to Farmville, those of us who went really felt like we made some good connections and we learned something. They're having a beforehand, I think dinner is at 6, but from 3 to like 5, they're having a class on freedom of information. I know that last year, Robbie and Phil, you had the person come, and we met down at the school and all that. So that is also a possibility if you feel like that's something that you need to brush up on. I have to say that since he was late, I understand he went to a class on parliamentary procedure, so I don't know, I said to him, didn't you go to a class on parliamentary procedure at the VML?
Oh, no, I went to the business meeting, and they were really heavy into the parliamentary
Oh,
procedure.
was it? I misunderstood, because I
Right.
told him I didn't want him corrected.
We don't want to hear it.
Election day for all will be in this room, November 3rd, and before that, Wednesday night, October 14th, at the fire station down the way at 7 p.m. The chamber is sponsoring, that's tomorrow night, Meet the Candidates, and this is an opportunity for you to come out and to meet and greet with the candidates. There is not a debate. It is strictly, I think you are given X number of minutes and to introduce yourself to the public. And I would like to see a lot of the people that I'm not familiar with, there tomorrow night. So I hope that they will, and it'll be interesting to see if they take time to come see if I want to see, or if you want to see and all. So this would be a nice thing to come out and support at 7 p.m. Do any of you have any questions for me?
Just one, when you were talking about Virginia's Growth Alliance
Yes, sir.
and looking things up online, the other thing that Jeff emphasized was the importance of having the websites up to date and attractive, and because that's the vast majority of economic development work for looking for locations, when businesses look for locations, is done long before anyone even comes here. So that's the importance of the website, and with that, our new website is up. So feel free to let me know of any comments, questions, concerns you have. might have some tweaks to do. I know the town's phone number is wrong on one of the pages, that fix. But let me know how you think. I think it's a little bit brighter now, and it has some pictures, and it's more friendly, and we really emphasize the work, live, and visit, work, and live.
Okay, new business. A continuing business. Under continuing business is the HDLA follow-up. Last month, I had that on the agenda, but we had not received anything. And so I would like to update you with what we have received and what will take place. As you remember, this is our 3-block square that we chose to start with the forestry grant that we had obtained. I don't know, beginning of last week or the end of the week before, Dave Farley came in, he brought these Google pictures and outlines of just the area that they're looking at. And he had, the company, the firm, had designated trees that they wanted more information on. And this, if you recall, our in-kind is when we do anything that pertains to it. So these trees need to be identified, and I told Wade that for me to try to identify a tree, I need to do them before the leaves fall off. And of course, this weather has sort of really put, it in high gear. But Mr. Spencer was in the office today, and I can't think of anyone who knows Wood and the town any better than he, yes. So he has agreed that on Friday, he and I will get in the car and we will start. There's 9 blocks that they designated certain trees they want identified and what condition they are in. And he has agreed to that, and we will keep our time and all. And I know the Garden Club would help us if, I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible with the weather changing and all. Like one block, I don't think there's a single tree on that we have to identify and all. But I may be calling on some of you, depending on how far we get on Friday and all. Wade was kind enough to make me have a copy made that to where, this is the good copy that I won't mess up. And then we have 2 copies that we can, scribble on and then transpose the pertinent information on.
This weekend is going to be some terrible storms and weather changes.
Yeah, so
hurry on Friday.
well, and I think Mr. Spencer knows bark, he knows wood, and he knows condition of a tree growing. Like, I didn't know that the trees in front of my house are elms. So I found that out today, that those trees right going down there are elms, and they were planted when the house was built. So think how old those trees are, even though they're not real tall. So that's how that stands. Do you have any more information on? But this is going towards our in-kind and all.
They're looking at, these trees are good, keep them. These might need to be taken out and something else wrong.
And since this, I think it's probably a Google picture and all, the tree may not even be there at this. I don't know when these, satellite pictures were taken, so the tree may have, have lost its home, yes. Okay, the zoning ordinance change. Do we have anything additional? I think what we did our legislation on that.
Yeah, I guess, any feedback from y'all when you've had time to review that, if you would let me know as quick as you can. If everything's okay, then we'll go ahead and set up a date, have a public hearing for planning commission.
We may want to go ahead now and have council request a public hearing subject to their approval, if you want to get it done quicker.
Now, does the planning commission public hearing have to be a separate night, say, could they both be held at the same time?
The same date, maybe a different time.
I mean, it might be a little difficult to do that because the planning commission's gonna come out with a recommendation.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
we may have to have it
I think it's cleaner to have it two separate days,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we shoot for the first one being on the next council. That's all right, really.
Is council, you feel that you are adequate?
I didn't even look there, and I apologize for that. We've been bouncing this thing back and forth so much that, I think having her blessing on it and what we put into it, we pretty well, yeah.
And this is the home occupation?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then I would move to have a public hearing on the home occupation zoning changes
With the planning commission.
with the planning commission contingent upon the approval of council with the plan.
Second.
Okay, we have, there's a motion on the floor to, I want to make sure I state this right, because
I don't ask Stevie to do it.
to have a public hearing on the R1 occupational home occupation ordinance pending
Council approval.
council approval.
Of the text of the ordinance.
Article 10.
Okay,
Stevie to do it.
all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Okay, that's carried. Okay, this next item, I think we pretty much took care of, but any other comments on the follow-up on the removing of the structure at 305 East Carolina? We made a motion for, to get a bid from Well. Okay. One thing that also that our town attorney brought up and asked if you all would consider, and I guess it should have gone under new business, was the approval to have the Christmas bonuses, the advertisement, and they need to be advertised. What is your consensus on that?
I'm making a motion that we have the town attorney draw proper paperwork for advertising on Christmas bonuses.
Okay.
Do we have to put money values in that?
Yes.
What did we give last year?
Same as last year.
I think it was 50 and 100, wasn't it?
140. 150, 75 part-time.
Yeah.
And this is all budgeted, correct?
Okay, we have a motion for the town attorney to draw up an advertisement for public hearing for the town to give Christmas bonuses as was given the amount as was given last year, that is in this year's budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed by like sign? Okay. Anything else on continuing business?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay,
I was asked to bring up, again, the county asks that we look at resurveying the industrial park. I know we got a quote several months ago. What was that quote? Do we know offhand, Wade?
I think it was $2,000 to $3,000.
$3,000, I thought, not 3,000.
Okay. So, I'm bringing it up.
Okay, I think that they really didn't need the whole park resurveyed. They were looking for the acreage that has not been
Has not been
used.
developed, right?
Right, that would still be up for usage if they were looking for a business to come into the industrial park.
So that may be a bit cheaper. We want to, I guess, get a quote on that is the next step. Be the next step.
What are y'all getting like 3 bids on that, just to give you an idea what it's gonna be, or you just going with one person?
That would be completely up to you all. I think he was just raising the question
Right,
that
right.
this was a concern of the county. I think last year when we brought it up, That was right after Trout River had been generously given from the town access to land, and yeah, and the town, at that point, the council thought that maybe the county should do the bill for this,
And the county's
yeah.
following that.
Has this not been surveyed before?
It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been years since it's been surveyed, and I guess I just want an update on what's available
Mhm.
as far
But
as
it
land.
doesn't change, does it?
I wouldn't think so. No, at all.
Well, I think what they
Unless it's
wanted more,
considerably less than $3,000, I would think that the document's on hand. Unless somebody thinks there's an error in the lines or something.
No, they haven't changed. Ownership has changed somewhat in the plots, but the actual land
And the
itself.
businesses that are there are on the books of what they are.
right, I think they just want to know like how much how much acreage.
Right.
If a business is looking for 4 acres, would Cruise Industrial Park be a place that they could fit into? You know, what we have left over.
And we have that information.
We do, it's not exact.
Yeah, but it would be close enough.
Oh, it'll be plus minus.
The county probably got it all anyway.
Yeah.
And
One
if,
more thing they want us to give them.
if you look online now, you will see the diagram of the industrial park with the buildings as whenever, I guess, Google had taken the pictures. And then they do have lines, but they don't have dimensions of like what is left over within those areas. And of course, some of that has changed because we Trout River, you know, is using parking and all facilities.
And it would have to be surveyed if they would start building, so. We're good. That'd be great.
When they surveyed the high school, we on Merlin, now the surveys.
Yeah, so went over there, yeah. Keep that money they made off of that.
Okay.
It's my opinion.
I would say though, that if we ever get another, or when we get another business to come in, if we were to give land at a discounted price or what have you, to have in the contract that they also resurvey it. I think hindsight, we may have been better off having Trout River do a survey as part of the deal. So, just looking forward in the future, we'll have that part there. Did we bring up a DMV partnership? Okay. That'll work. And the comprehensive plan, was that approved by VDOT?
We
haven't heard anything.
Okay, that'll work. And then with that, once it's approved, I guess, moving forward and beginning to execute the comprehensive plan, how we want to do that.
First thing would probably be, I was just thinking about that today, first of the year, go ahead and go through and publish the status of each of the sections.
Perfect. That's all I have.
Okay, anything else? Citizens? Yes, sir.
3 simple things. Number 1, being down here 4.5 years, I think the council deserves a big round of applause. Simply being that in the last 2 years, we were blessed to have both the mayor, the vice mayor, and councilmen come to the meeting. That has been noticed by the business. That being said, our membership now went from 29 back 4 years ago to 82. So we're looking for a very positive year next year, and I personally want to say thank you.
Awesome.
The second thing, and I may be out of order, but this is addressed to Wade. With this asbestos situation, was it brought up last time to try to get a separate bid just on the asbestos and asbestos removal only, and then we could have another company that didn't have those qualifications to remove the balance, which would probably reduce our cost overall?
No, but
Well, that would be my suggestion. I'm just saying. And third of all, with the committee that's being formed to overlook the police headquarters, are they gonna be privy to the amount of square feet that is needed as far as offices, or whether there's a cell that has to be put in there? Just what requirements? Is there a fundamental budget that's set? Otherwise, their hands are tied.
Well, at this point, there is a company who has given us a price to look at 3 different locations. Correct me if I'm
Right.
wrong. That would come in and look at what the town is in need of, and then these locations, how to put that into these 3 places. And it is a quite hefty price there. They would not come up with actual construction plans. They would just come out with overall plans. And that's why this committee was formed, to see, this is what this would cost. Is this a direction that the town wants to go in and bring it back to their fellow council people, you know, to vote on? And all, because, you know, when you look just at dollar signs, and it's a big amount, and we still wouldn't have construction plans, or would we have settled where we would put it? It's still, you know, it's just gathering more information. Is this really the route? And we felt like that the chief and I, to be fair, that we needed independent citizens and council people to look at this and, you know, to come up with their feeling on this and bring it back to council. So it's not just, you know, the chief wanting a new
Right, I
department,
understand.
or safety wanting to support the chief and the staff, and say budget saying, well, we don't know where we're going to get it, so we can't do it. You know, to try to plan down the road so that we know where we stand and where we're going.
Okay.
Any other comments? I want to thank you all. I appreciate it. I'm going to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Okay.